What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Knowledge, seven-figure entrepreneur. Been in the notary space for going on 10 years, and after millions being made in the notary business, and multiple days where I made 10K or plus a day in revenue, I just wanted to share a little bit more about my story. I want to explain to you how becoming a notary for me ended up turning into $1 million notary business. And usually when I tell people this, whether it be on social media or in person, I try to remind them, like, this wasn't done intentionally. Like, when I first came into the notary business, it wasn't one of those things where I was like, hey, I'm gonna become a notary and I'm gonna make $1 million. Like, it wasn't one of those things. It was more so I was at a place of struggle at that point in my life. And when I looked back at all the different ventures I tried as an entrepreneur, the notary business was one of those, like, tried and true businesses that always brought me an income. So when I think about the notary business, for me, it was always like a fallback business. You know what I mean? It was always like one of those businesses where no matter what happens in the world, I was like, okay, being a notary, I'll be fine. Similarly to like taxes, for example, because no matter what, you always need to have your taxes done. So for me, it was like the notary business was that for me, because I knew no matter what, people need to get notarizations done. It was a need-based business. So for me, when I first graduated college, I had the choice on, of course, going into my field, which was computer science, which I know I could have made good money from, but I really wanted to go into entrepreneurship myself. So how it started is I tried a whole bunch of different businesses out. A lot of them actually did good, but they just didn't match with my personality. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. And one of them was the notary business. So straight out the gate, making money in the notary business for me wasn't one of those hard things. I made money in the notary business, but I was just a notary, going to appointment and knocking out notarizations like that. So that was cool for me. But over time, especially being a young guy, I was like, all right, this is boring. I don't want to keep doing these notarizations. I don't want to keep driving to people's appointments. And to be honest with you, even though I was making money at that time, it wasn't substantial enough. It wasn't the amount to where, I don't think I was even making $5K a month consistently from that at that point. It was just something that was bringing in extra income. I'd get a couple $100 jobs here, there, but the inconsistency was really something that, was relevant in that time in my life. So the inconsistency was there. I wasn't making consistent income from the notary business yet. So then what ended up happening is I tried a whole bunch of other different businesses, and I was like, okay, cool. Notary business is cool. I know it makes money, blah, 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 but I want to chase what everybody else is doing. So around that time, I was doing the same thing that a lot of entrepreneurs do. You start seeing success in the business, and then you want to do something else. I like to call it the entrepreneur's curse, but you guys will know it as shiny object syndrome. Same thing. So I tried out everything else. I tried out the Turos, the Airbnbs, the vending machine businesses, like you name it, there's a chance that I've already done it. And although those worked, there was one venture that I ended up going into. And then I ended up hitting some like rock bottoms in different businesses, and I ended up having nothing to work with. It's like I just made money, and then I ended up going back to zero. So when I went back to zero and I was sitting back and I was on my ass, I was on my butt, whatever you want to call it. When I was on my butt, I'll keep it clean, I started to look back at all the businesses that I did, and I was like, I need to make money now as fast as possible. So I was like, what can I do that'll make money fast as possible? I don't want to wait. I don't want anything with a long turnaround time. And for me, I was like, okay, cool. That was the notary business. Because I remembered at that time, okay, the notary business is something where once I start advertising or once I start letting people know I become a notary, then it's easy for me to get jobs. So I went back and I started doing jobs. So at this time, I was doing jobs. I got back into the notary business. Everything was cool. But where the change really happened was when I made a promise to myself that I no longer want to spend my time to make money, in the sense that I just really wanted to work from the neck up. And when I say I want to work from the neck up, is I just wanted to be able to make money only using my mind. That was the biggest thing for me. I was like, okay, cool. How can I make money without having to drive to these appointments? Because what happened at that point is I think I was about an hour and a half away from Miami. I remember hopping into the car, and this is one of my last appointments. I hopped into the car, drove all the way down to Miami, went to this guy's penthouse, went up to the room, knocked on the door, and then he canceled the appointment. So I remember doing that, and I'm like, man, I just wasted an hour and a half of my life each way. So about 3 hours of my life doing absolutely nothing for no money. So then I was like, you know what, make a promise to myself. I need to do something where I can work from the neck up, I could travel the world and there's money still being made. And I want something that's also gonna be recession proof, because no matter what, I'm like, all right, I need this to be a business to where people just need this. It's like, it's not like a t-shirt business where you're going out there and trying to sell t-shirts and, convince people to use your service. This is something where when somebody needs to get something notarized, whether it's a apostille or estate planning or whatever it is, they need to get that thing notarized. Like, no matter what, they need to get that thing notarized. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna focus on this notary business and I'm gonna take it to the next level. So then I started learning out different tactics. I'm like, okay, cool. I learned how to work with other notaries. Because I remember there was one time a specific job came in that I was not able to do. So I'm in South Florida, and I think this was in like mid Florida, or was in North Florida. I think it was like Tallahassee. I can't remember exactly, Tallahassee or Gainesville. So what I did was, when the person called me, they were like, hey, are you guys able to notarize a specific document? And for me, I was like, okay. In my mind, I was like, no. I'm like, this is way too far. But I was like, okay, cool. This is a good test for me to see, can I actually do this without having to actually go to the appointment? So I was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and do the notarization for you. Went ahead, I charged that client. And then what I did at that moment is I called my friend that was in Tallahassee. I think it was Tallahassee. Let's call my friend that was in Tallahassee, or was it Gainesville? It doesn't matter. Anyways, I called my friend that was in that location. And then I said, hey, I have a person that needs this notarization done. Let's just call it a school form. A notarization done for a school form. I'm going to pay you $50 if you can do this. I'll pay you $40 if you can do this. Are you able? And then they were like, yeah, sure. So I was like, okay, cool. So I said, okay, cool. After the job is done, can you just give me a call back and let me know that the job is completed, just so I have an idea? And then they said, yeah, no problem. So what I did was gave them the client details, I gave them the information, and I was just at my house and I was just waiting. So this was the real test. I was like, oh my gosh, I hope I didn't just take this lady's money and this job is not about to get done, not about to get notarized, because that's a reflection on me. So boom, before you know it, let's say like a couple of hours passed. And then I remember my friend called me back and said, hey, the notarization was good, everything is complete. And then at that point, I was like, yeah, how did everything go? They were like, yeah, it was smooth. And I was like, okay, give me a call. One second, I'm gonna call the client. Call the client, everything was good. Called my friend back, and I was like, all right, cool. Here's the payment. Went ahead, and I think I Zelled him or Cash Apped him or Venmo, I don't know which one it was, but I ended up sending him the money at that point. And then I remember sitting to myself and thinking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just made $50 to $100 profit without leaving my house. The most I did was made a few phone calls, reached out to a friend, had them do the work, but then I actually made, let's call it 75 to be safe. I made $75 without leaving the house and having to do nothing. So that was the epiphany. That was like the turning point for me, where I was like, okay, cool. I know I can now make money without having to leave the house, and I can be profitable without leaving the house and still just make money. So at that point, I was like, okay, cool. I made $75 without leaving the crib. How can I make this $75 10 times in the same day, every single day? And that's what I just started focusing on. I started thinking about different strategies, different tactics, and different ways that I can keep money coming in, so that way I wouldn't have to leave the house. And that's what it really started off with. So it wasn't the intentions in the beginning to make $1 million. That wasn't the intention. The intention was, I was broke. I was like, I need to make money. I'm broke as hell. I know this makes money because people need to get this done. That's what it was. So I'd be lying to say like, oh, I got into this business and I knew from the very beginning that I could make $1 million. No, when you think about the notary business, you don't think about $1 million coming from a notary business. You just think about stamping papers, right? That's what everybody thinks. Well, that's what I would assume everybody thinks. That's what I thought. So what happened is I started learning different systems. I started testing out different things, and I found something that worked for me. And then I remember we made 40,000, I think it was. I think we made 40,000 in like a December, one of these years. But I specifically remember the number being 40,000, and I'm pretty sure it was in December. And that was after a few months. I'm going from $75 I made at one day to $40,000 a month. I was like, what the hell? It happened extremely fast once I started dedicating my time to it. But that's something for a different story. So when I made that 40,000, I was like, you know what? If we can make 40,000, I know that we can get to 100,000. If we can get to 100,000, I know that we'll be at $1 million. Because after that, at that point, I started doing the math. I'm like, okay, how much do I actually need to make $1 million a year? And it was like 83,333 and 33 cents repeating. It was something like that, 83,333. I always remember that because I'm always like, that's my indicator to making $1 million. So when we hit that 40,000, I was like, oh, you know what? At that point, that's when it opened up in my mind. I'm like, oh yeah, we have $1 million business here. because it wasn't even that long until we got to the 40,000. So at that point I was like, oh yeah, I know that I can make millions from this business now. So for me, that was really how it happened. That was like the transition from me being the notary all the way to the point where I'm like, okay, cool. I have $1 million business, now multiple $1 million business. And now I'm able to enjoy my life. Right now is what? A beautiful Monday at what, 3 p.m.? Let me see. It's Monday at 12:51 p.m. Some people are probably at work and I'm here chilling, talking to you guys on the roof while the sun is blazing in my face. Had to put the shades on because I was getting blinded. But anyways, yeah, that was what it was for me. I didn't start off like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make $1 million from that. So I try to be as honest as possible and let people know that that wasn't my intentions. But once I found out that it can be done, I'm like, oh shoot, this is a lot easier than I expected it to be. You just have to be dedicated, put the time towards it. But honestly, once you understand the systems and you know the procedures on what to follow, you're fine. But if you are somebody that's interested out there, you're like, maybe you're a notary that's been doing these jobs and you're tired of it, or maybe you're somebody that just wants to go straight to the signing service, honestly, you can do that as well. Just let me know, click in the link in the bio down below. This is a free training, and what I do in that training is explain to you guys the back end systems on how I built a 7-figure plus mobile notary business. I show you the numbers so you can see everything yourself, and it's just a lot cleaner. I just sit down, talk to you guys, show you some numbers. So go ahead and sign up for that, check out that free training, it'll help you out. But yeah, I just wanted to share that story with you guys because for me, like I said, it wasn't something that I expected, not something that I was planning on doing, but I knew that I would make millions one day, but I just didn't think it was gonna happen like this. I didn't think it was gonna come through signing papers, to be honest with you. I thought it was gonna be something cooler, you know what I mean? I thought it was gonna be like an e-commerce or like, oh, I'm doing Amazon FBA. I didn't think it would've came from this. But hey, I'm not complaining. To God be the glory. But anyways, I just wanted to talk to you guys about that and show you my transition, give you a little bit of my backstory on how that happened. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Check out that free training. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to put that in the comments below. I'm here to help. Hope you enjoyed. Peace, love, and your boy Knowledge is out.